Hello everyone, I'm Sasa Milic, full professor at University of Montenegro, and I'll present today results of our research named Development of Social Cultural Identities of Preschool Children in Montenegro. First of all, I would like to share with you research objective. The overall objective of our project was to explore the ways in which dominant social cultural identities are formed and expressed in preschool children in Montenegro. In our focus definitely, or more precisely, were agency and autonomy of children, and also interaction between children and teachers and children and parents. We actually consulted a lot of researches and scientific books and articles, and in next few slides I will share just few of them which we actually consulted or used as a theoretical background for our research. There is a number of researches of Ryan and Detsy, Stefano, Young, Reeve, William and the other, which actually stress that the children's ways of thinking are very much associated with institutional practices, and that's why we decided to conduct our research in preschool institutions. The second group of researchers we consulted are researchers of Udina, Reeve, Tomanovic, Trebiashanin, Solic, Turnšek and the other, and these researchers also show that there is a lot of connection between collectivist cultures and the style of educator or parenting style interaction. As a background, we also used researches of Rable, Alvarez, Beckman, Cameron and the other authors, and we use these researches as somehow base or definition of different main components or key components of identity. Very interesting research conducted in United States by Garsaro is very much connected actually with our research, and this research points out that the children are much more engaged, more participate, more expressing agency and initiate relationship with the environment than previously assumed. The same results we found in researches conducted in Sweden, Finland, and few words about the research methodology. We decided to have two levels of methodology, or two kinds. The first was qualitative research, and in these researches we included ethnographic studies, focus group interviews, photo interviews with children, case studies, and analysis of educational policy documents. And also we decided to have a quantitative part of methodology, and we created survey questionnaires for children, for parents. We had 4 target groups actually. The first target group was a group of preschool children, 150 of them. Then for the focus groups we had preschool teachers, 30 of them. For the observation of the teaching process in preschools we had 12 preschool teachers, and also we had 150 parents of preschool children. We conducted this research in the end of last year and the beginning of 2020. I will show and explain few results, or some of results, not all of them, because it's huge national research, but I would like to just inform you that we tried to combine all these results and to filtrate somehow with some kind of internal logic through children's rights, educational strategies, educational context of curriculum, communication and interaction, learning and play, and physical environment. And we included all these 6 indicators in all our research analysis or research procedures. The first part of research I will present today is devoted to group interviews with preschool children, focus groups interviews, teachers in these. Main results will be that they actually respect children's rights, but there are also those who believe that excessive application of the concept of child rights leads to anarchy, and it's not easy to implement this concept. The second concept of identity is in most preschool teachers is not precisely defined, and the third conclusion is preschool teachers generally agree that very little or not at all is done in the preschool of Montenegro on the development of children's identity. They agree that group identity prevails over personal identity, and also they think that it's very difficult to develop national or linguistic identity in preschool age. There is a number of preschool teachers even believe that working on the development of national or linguistic identity is not the responsibility of kindergarten but of the family. Not a small number of preschool teachers believe that intercultural education could lead to assimilation and loss of one's own identity. So they are much more they believe more in multicultural concept than in intercultural concept. And the last list of conclusions from focus groups are: during the focus group interviews, most of presented educational activities were very stereotypical and mainly related to religious identity, such as visit of churches, mosques, celebration of religious holidays, or traditional folklore and folk costumes. There is a very anachronistic experience of gender identity and the binary image of boys and girls. There is very little content and activity in the national preschool curriculum dedicated to development of socio-cultural dimensions of identity. Even the few activities dedicated to development of socio-cultural dimensions of identity that preschool teachers realize are uninteresting for. The second part of research is devoted to observation of education process in 6 cities of Montenegro in 3 regions, and I will show results in graphs. On these graphs you can see that we couldn't find a lot of activities devoted to development of identity through the concept of child rights, except the personal identity. All the other are less than 50% identity. Similar situation is when we are talking about the educational strategies, nothing about gender and language, and very little about national and religious. Again, similar results when we observed the classroom environment. We didn't find almost anything about the national identity, language identity, just a few items about the religious or gender identity, and that was that. Mostly they had materials devoted to a personal and social identity. When we are talking about the interaction situation is a little bit better, because our preschool teachers are well trained, and especially in communication, and their communication with children is good, and that's why we found a little bit better results here, but still very little, about 30% about the national identity, religious, even less when we are talking about the language identity. It's strange that they couldn't find the way to develop different social cultural identities through play, and the results are very low, as you can see. And some conclusions, general conclusions about the observation are mostly, actually, most of them I explained during the explanation or presenting the graphs of previous 6 or 7 slides. So I will continue with the results of survey with parents. Parents are not satisfied, definitely, and you can see on these graphs that only 30% of them recognize that there is something about the development of national and ethnic identity in our preschools. 49 of them recognize some kind of religious identity or development of that, but still 51 couldn't see almost anything. Situation is much better when we are talking personal identity, and it's very much connected to the individualization of teaching process, and that's why they recognized in such a high percentage these development of the personal. Situation is not satisfied if we are talking about development of gender identity, and only 42% of parents are satisfied with the results, and 61 of them are satisfied with the development of mother tongue identity or language, national language. But the result is a little bit better now, because in Montenegro we have several official languages: Montenegrin, Croatian, Serbian, Bosnian, Albanian, and probably this mix of official languages gave a better result in this part of the research. General conclusions of the survey could be or would be significantly parents have significantly more positive expression of development of identity than the results of our other research procedures. However, it's noticeable that more than 50% of parents negatively evaluate the work of preschool teachers when it comes to development of national, gender and religious identity. I mentioned this part, this bullet, so I won't explain that again. And the fact that the parents gave positive answers without being able to describe them with offered descriptors lead us to the conclusion that many answers are inaccurate, or our parents are not sufficiently familiar with the quality of educational work. Research findings, main research findings could be there is a satisfactory level of knowledge of child rights in Montenegrin preschool institutions, but there is a lack of deeper understanding how the concept of child rights can be implemented in the education process. Second one, preschool teachers are very little devoted to development of national and language identity. Development of religious identity is present, but from our point of view it's mostly stereotypical and oriented to Orthodox religion, with the significant neglecting of materials and activities which promote other present religions in Montenegro: Catholics, Muslims and the other. Development of gender identity is still definitely very stereotypical: blue boys and rose apples. Further scope of work, actually our research could be guidance for understanding of overall picture of child development, also can be a unique contribution to the Montenegrin identity image, and also can offer a phenomenological view of the basic pedagogical led teacher-child and parent-child, but not only in Montenegro, as well in Western Balkan.